The bows of Francois Tourte, like the violins of Antonio Stradivari, are unique historical objects of great importance as well as great financial value. They perform in ways that modern copies generally do not match. As a consequence, it's important that we retain as much knowledge about them as we can. It's been my purpose to study carefully the bows of Tourte and to make copies that are as accurate as I can make them, because whatever we know about them is contained only in the products themselves. We have no records, no written records of how they may have gone about their craft. So this is a copy I've made of a Tourte bow. We've seen this in previous videos. I want to tell you a bit about the process of studying the bow and how I use that to make a copy. I take, in this case, a digital caliper and measure all around the circumference of the bow, every centimeter down the length of it, and keep a close record of those numbers. I then work toward that in making my own bows. I do the same with the measurements of the head and of the frog, where the frog is original in one of their bows, one of his bows. The other major piece of information is the camber, the curvature of the bow, in that it is different from modern bows and needs to be traced and understood as well. I've developed a simple method of tracing this camber, and I find it to be very, very reliable. Then when I'm making a bow, I can take a tracing of the bow I'm making, compare it like this, several sheets of this tracing paper, to the original Tourte camber, and find my way slowly and carefully to as exact a duplicate of his as I can make. I find that that very much influences the behavior of the bow, so accuracy is paramount. Also, in terms of an historic study, this is information that would both guide me if I make a later publication or anyone else who might follow. Once the bow is completed, Tourte did several things which are subtle and generally overlooked by modern makers, but worth remembering. One is, his bows are frequently not quite perfectly round. He tends to make them just a little egg-shaped, somewhat narrower on the top. This creates a lower center of gravity for the bow, which allows it to resist rolling in the hand and gives it a tracking power that an ordinary bow does not match. Subtle, useful, smart. Another thing he does is, once he's finished the bow, very carefully cutting the bevel, cutting the nose, getting the shape, getting the measurements, getting the frog right, everything is sharp, very, very sharp with the tools. But that's not where he leaves the bow. Most modern makers are fascinated with the task of being very sharp in their details, and they leave the bows that way. Not Tourte. His are softened, very slightly softened on every sharp edge, bevel, nose, frog, body of the bow. What this does is it resists cracking. If you hit a sharp edge on Pernambuco, which is a fragile material, it's very subject to breaking. By doing the slight rounding, he has achieved two things. One is an insurance policy against cracking, and also a very much more beautiful final product. Pleasing, not sharp, not cutting toward the hand or the eye. We should go and do likewise.